I'm fascinated with the Lonnie Zamora case as well. I've read practically everything there is to read and watch about Lonnie Zamora. I've watched all the interviews that he did. I find him highly credible as well. And it is interesting because the shape of that particular craft, as it was described, is consistent with the oval and or the tic-tac shape that we're talking about in relation to the goings-on at the range described by Jake Barber and other people. And indeed, the pilots of the jets that were flying over the west coast of the USA, Dave Fravor, other people involved in the interdictions between tic-tac craft and US military craft in 2004.
The sDm Files, episode 16. Thanks for being with me, everyone. Make sure to check out all the links down in your breadbasket. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, share with all your friends. Go do that right now. Come find me, x.com/shotgunmind. We'll do the thing.
All right, let's talk about these MH370 videos because I'm seeing a lot of garbage online. And look, I wasn't meant to be working tonight. I don't have the white shirt on. We were not meant to be on the clock. But I'm seeing a lot of people just kind of talking garbage, and the uninformed are eating it up. Now, we're going to be looking at a debunking video of these MH370 videos. I'm going to be talking about why it just doesn't make sense. But I think it's important to understand that, yes, I'm approaching this from an artist's perspective because I think that's important, because once you don't need to be a good artist to understand that the way these people are trying to debunk these videos makes zero sense.
We get started with Ross Fuck'em Coulthart, Q&A, reality check, secret military tunnels, dark side of the moon, and more. Talks about David Grush, talks about the tic-tac, the new tic-tac and the old tic-tac. Weaponized, Jeremy Corbell, George Knapp, Immaculate Constellation, Congressional UFO hearings, and a parade of aliens. They've had their last 3 weeks. The last 3 episodes have been Immaculate Constellation interview with Matthew Brown, parts 1, 2, and 3. Jeremy Corbell says make sure to watch them. Watch all 3 of them. Watch them in order. Don't stop at number 1. Don't just watch number 3. Watch all 3 of them and then get at him. They address the Lou Elizondo debacle in the UFO hearings. They also talk about David Grush being involved in the UFO hearings and how cool that is. That this idea that David Grush is sitting there with his arms crossed, just staring you down while you're being interviewed by Congressional congressperson who's on the hearing for federal transparency about UFOs and aliens. Says, how cool is that? And that does sound kind of cool. Richard Dolan, a little grumpy at the beginning. People who are either ignoring whistleblowers or relying on them too much. Both the audience and the people presenting them. I often say that someone like David Grush is just kind of regurgitating a Richard Dolan episode. He's never really said anything that's new to us, to ufology, or the well-documented discussion and topic of ufology for the last 8, 9, 10 decades. So he doesn't really count to me as a whistleblower because he hasn't told us anything. He hasn't told us anything new. He hasn't blown any whistle. Maybe he's held up a whistle, but he definitely hasn't blown it, But then he goes into, super informative episode with all of his charts and graphs about the people that covered, especially the initial crashes, UFO crashes at Roswell and others, and the process that they went through and the real evidence that they brought through and how they had to fight against the government and the media, etc. Ross Coulthart showing back up again, of course. He is the leading ufology journalist of the year for the last 3 years, including this year. He's shown up here with Christopher Mellon and Eric Burleson at I don't think it's a mock hearing, but it's some kind of Japanese parliamentary hearing that kind of looks like a game show, but I don't think it actually is. Vetted is covering everything in ufology, but Ross Coulthart's comments there, Chris Mellon's comments there, Congressman Eric Burleson's comments there at this Japanese committee. And that's actually, if you didn't know, and I didn't know until I was paying close attention to Reddit here, that's where these comments that we've been seeing on X from the congressman here about Lou Elizondo being on a break because he showed a picture of irrigation circles to the world. That's where those comments have kind of been coming from. That's where they came from. Is he told the Japanese parliamentary game show committee that Lou Elizondo's taking a break. And so if you've been on X on Twitter, you've been seeing those comments being talked about pretty wildly for the last week or so. And then we got all three of those guys, but then we also got Lou Elizondo showing up on Dr. Phil and with Bruce Corbell in an interview basically recorded before all that other stuff. So before Immaculate Constellation, before the UAP hearing, before the irrigation crop circle picture was held up. Bruce Corbell and Lou Elizondo came on Dr. Phil's show. And I don't think Dr. Phil's show must not cover ufology very often. So the first hour of this interview is kind of like an introduction to ufology, a little bit of history of Lou Elizondo and other things put on by Lou Elizondo and Bruce Corbell. And then there's kind of your standard song and dance, I will call it, from Lou Elizondo. But what we get and what we're calling Bombshell and what X has been exploding over this week is Lou Elizondo in here saying, hey, look, I still got my security clearance, but I've been cleared recently to say that there is aliens, there is biologics, there is, alien bodies, both alive and not alive, that we recovered from crashes. Whoa, bombshell. Which is a bombshell because Lou Elizondo saying it instead of saying some kind of parable or fifth grade motivational quote. So that's a bombshell, but then you get the rest of his kind of standard song and dance about all the things in ufology. So, it's kind of a bombshell, and they're going to hold it up as bombshell because it's on Dr. Phil, which probably wasn't covering ufology even a year ago, maybe it was. Next up, there's the Dr. Phil podcast, of course. Polarity. Polarity takes on Ashton Forbes and the world and MH370 and the topic of MH370 and the topic of the MH370 videos being hoaxed or not. And ever since Ashton's redemption campaign has begun, part of that redemption campaign is that he showed up on Polarity. Polarity has gotten a lot of pushback from X especially, but the ufology community for helping platform Ashton. And, is he just in on it for the clicks and the engagement farming? Because there's no way someone could believe Ashton. And he's really been taking on his criticizers head on in both video form and pretty pointedly and politely on X. And so we start with him doing his thing saying, I don't know, I think that one, I'm not sure the videos are a hoax since we're only really talking about one frame that anyone's been able to debunk. And two, I don't really give anyone who's been fooled by these videos any kind of gruff for being fooled by these videos because they look real. Right? And then we got Ashton, of course, Ashton running victory laps because he's discovered Gorgon Stare and etc. 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 We've got a couple of videos of him doing that. This one is 6.5 minutes, and I was saying this is a good 6.5 minutes. Just watch Ashton and you'll either love him or hate him or not give a fuck at the end of this. It probably won't even take the whole 7-minute video, right? If you need more, here's 12 more minutes. You can check out his whole channel. He's still doing it. He's still kicking ass on ufology. He's still doing X and YouTube and running probably one of the best ufology podcasts out there weekly. Bringing up the back end of the sDm files this week, the rump of the sDm files, as Ross Coulthart might say. We got Lucius Aurelian. I pulled his Great Lakes Land of Wonder and Terror video because the thumbnail had a UFO on it, but he talks about UFOs a couple times in here for being a part of the Zone of Doom, the Bermuda Triangle of the Great Lakes, or also, musings on their involvement in a previous civilization that inhabited the Americas before the Americans. And his real concise treatment of Operation High Jump and Admiral Richard Byrd. So those are great places to go get that. And if you like his style, you like his thing, these are great little things because his normal category is doing Tartaria. So you can kind of take this as a jumping off point from ufology and go do Tartaria for an hour or a week or a couple of years.